wanahitaji wanatarajia kunufaika na ununuzi wa yale mabasi. Ndio maana unaona yanaharakishwa yanunuliwe haraka iwezekanavyo, ndio mtu aweze kupata kima chake.
As the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, stops issuing new road service licenses to the 14-seater matatu, the operators are not taking any matter lightly.
Let me assure you guys, we are seeing you from far. You are testing our faith as stakeholders. But trust me, you NTSA, we are giving you 72 hours ultimum time. It's either you renew our licenses, which are more than 210 as per Friday, and I know the number will increase by next week. You renew our license and we'll be in good books with you.
In the new plan, the 14-seater matatus will not be allowed to get any closer within a 50-kilometer radius of the given metropolitan city. Shadrack Miti, KTN News.
Well, that row continues to create a lot of anxiety, even as the matatu operators raise valid concerns. And my colleague Abubakar Abdullahi joining us from our HM studios just here within Mombasa Road offices. And Abubakar, it has been a long-drawn spat between matatu owners and the government. Perhaps what has been the chronology of when did the first matatu ban for 14-seaters? When was it first instituted?
Well, Abi, that's a very good question. The ban of the importation of matatus was first imposed in 2010 in a bid that the government was seeking to regulate the number of 14-seaters that were imported into the country. From 2010 to 2011, there were no 14-seater matatus that were imported into the country, at least as per the regulation that was there by then in 2012. As from 2012, the government overlooked its decision. Now people were allowed and investors were allowed to import 14-seater matatus. This, of course, has seen an increase as well on the number of importation in as far as 14-seater matatus are concerned, which has elicited the latest, of course, simmering difference between the government and matatu owners. Matatu owners now say that they were not fully consulted in as far as phasing out 14-seaters is concerned. The government, of course, has moved with this decision in as far as decongesting the city is concerned, Abi, in what seemingly has become an end year, a not so good end year, rather, for the matatu sector. You will understand this comes barely 2 months since the implementation of the revival of the Michuki laws came into effect. Of course, that a week ago, we also had the ban of entry of matatus into Nairobi CBD area. So it hasn't been a somewhat good week in as far as the matatu industry is concerned, an industry that equally employs close to many Kenyans with a turnover of an approximated 100 billion shillings annually. So it hasn't been an end year, a not so good one for the matatu sector in as far as the difference that is simmering stands out as of now. Abi.
Interesting that you bring this up, Abubakar. Of course, I remember pretty well how the issues have developed. But ideally, many of the Kenyans out there, of course, they rely on public transport. As we speak, currently, public transport caters for over 80% of Kenyans across the country. And many are saying that the ban of the 14-seater will have a big impact because the current manner in which the transport system has been designed cannot absorb the growing number of commuters. And of course, the government has been saying, on the other hand, that they'll be introducing buses. How practical will this be? And is it the silver bullet to the menace that we continue to experience in the country?
Well, Abi, the government as of now, through the Cabinet Secretary of Transport, says that as from February next year, they will have 11 commuter trains and 64 high-capacity buses that will ease the movement and transportation of people entering Nairobi CBD. This is, of course, seen as a way of decongesting the city. But when you look at the statistics, and as far as the number of people who 14-seater matatu employs, is not quite as an example of, in comparison to the number of people that, for instance, a one commuter train will employ. So in as far as employability of the two services is concerned, of course, they will have a difference. But when it comes to the question of course, easing the transportation within the entry of Nairobi CBD and, of course, decongesting the city, then the light trains and the 64 high-capacity buses will be a better option in as far as judging objectively the situation is concerned. Abby? Well, let's move on from matters matatu and get into